Sean Spicer back in the press room today after 2 days off with Naval Reserve duty. He was filled in for by Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who did a commendable job as the fill-in acting press secretary. But today Sean Spicer was back. He was in full form. He was accompanied by H.R. McMaster, the National Security Advisor for President Trump. H.R. McMaster led off the briefing today with an explanation of President Trump's first overseas trip, which is coming up starting next Friday. The trip will take him to the Middle East, Israel, and Italy, as well as to Brussels, where he will address NATO. A lot of interesting things coming up on the trip, to include a potential talks for a Saudi Arabia nuclear deal or a Saudi Arabia arms deal in general.
The trip has three core purposes. First, to reaffirm America's global leadership. Second, to continue building key relationships with world leaders. And third, to broadcast a message of unity to America's friends and to the faithful of three of the world's greatest religions.
Following that, Sean Spicer returned to the podium. He had an interesting comment regarding the new trade deal signed between the United States and China, allowing now for the opening of the Chinese market for U.S. beef exports. This is a major investment in the United States market for Chinese for China, as well as having U.S. beef producers be able to export their products to China for the first time in many years.
One of the actions I want to point out in particular sets the stage for China to allow imports of American beef beginning no later than July 16th of this year. It's been 13 years since our cattle producers have been effectively locked out of the Chinese market. China is the second largest beef importer in the world, buying roughly $2.6 billion of beef every year.
Finally today, we got questions regarding the replacement and the process of interviews for James Comey. James Comey was fired earlier this week, and as of such, there is currently the acting FBI Director of Andrew McCabe. Andrew McCabe, who is himself the subject of some suspicion after his wife received $600,000 from allies of Hillary Clinton and the Democrat Party for her state Senate run in Virginia. We heard from Spicer that there are interviews currently underway at the Department of Justice, and that they're expected to be continued over the weekend.
I know that the Department of Justice has begun to create that list, and I believe they're going to, if they haven't already, are going to be starting the process of interviewing people either today or through the weekend.
And finally, the media today was adamant in questioning Sean Spicer regarding President Trump's tweets this morning that there were potential tapes of James Comey's conversations with the president over dinner. The president made the tweet early this morning, and the media was fired up today. They had the tweets printed out and asked him no less than 5 separate questions whether or not there was taping going on of any officials within the White House, whether Trump was taping within the Oval Office, or other people were being taped at different times. President Trump, of course, making a reference to the famous Nixon tapes that were discovered at the end of the Nixon administration.
Why did he tweet that? What should we interpret from that?
As I mentioned, the president has nothing further to add on that.
Are there recording devices in the Oval Office or in the residence?
As I said for the third time, there is nothing further to add on that.
Is the President of the United States currently recording conversations taking place in the Oval Office?
I think the point that I made with respect to the tweet is the president has no further comment on this.
For more on this story as it develops, stick right here. Jack Posobiec reporting live from the White House for Rebel Media. If you guys like this kind of reporting, make sure to click like and subscribe to the channel.